What's up, everybody? We're back this week talking Power Talk. Had to take a week off. I think all of us was a little confused last week, wondering where episode 9 was at. But we're here this week, and it's obviously, well, I don't know. This seems like somebody's missing, but maybe he'll jump on.
That was there last week. That show was there.
Came to his true form. But yeah, but it's all good because Lucas is with me, and we're gonna knock out episode 9 talk tonight. As always, this is a spoiler discussion, full deep dive. So if you have not seen episode 9, Scorched Earth, make sure you do so. Also, too, like for anybody that be doing like I be doing, make sure you watch the right episode because for a split second, I was watching episode 8. I was like, damn, they got us again. But I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why, but the STARZ app, I hit like latest episode, and it went to episode 8, and I was like, oh, I guess like the whole Xfinity thing might have finally got me, but it was on there. So episode 9, Scorched Earth, is the latest episode this week. This is the last episode before the mid-season extended episode next week episode. So
I thought this was the mid-season.
I know. But like, remember, I told you that. I was looking down like for the future dates. I was like, oh, I think the next one isn't, but well, you know, it is.
They said next week is the extended mid-season because this was an extended episode. This episode was an hour and 20 minutes long. So I think they're saying this is the extended episode.
Maybe. Okay. Well, look, I put it this way. This no, episode 9 was an hour, but I will say this to that theory. Episode 9 really legit felt like the worst edited episode ever because
exactly
people were like here and then here within that one scene. I was like, can we at least feel like the person traveled a little bit?
Hey, like they don't travel in Power. There's no travel. There's perfect parking and no traveling.
Dax was at the airport and then his apartment right there. and meanwhile, Dre was running for a whole hour. But yeah, let's get into it. So, Scorched Earth, the title, as we always talk about first. How does the title reflect on this episode for you?
Well, oh wow, I think it connected by burning all of Ghost's connections. So when you hear the term Scorched Earth, that just means like you burned everything down. So to me, he burned all his connections down in this episode. Whether it be his connection with Tasha, whether it be the one with Tommy, whether it be with Jason, whether it be with anyone, anyone, he burned everything down to the Tariq. That's the one I was trying to think of in my head. His relationship with Tariq, like he burned everything down to the ground. So that was his Scorched Earth. Is that he scorched everything? Like it's Scorched Earth normally brings a new beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're about to see with Ghost, probably in the second part of the season.
Good thing you brought that up because, it was literally said out of Rashad Tate's mouth about his whole campaign. So his campaign's done. But it ain't really the new beginning for him. It's the new beginning that we've been seeing for a long time, which is
for a long freaking time.
Ghost is making his strong move, and not the second-tier move into politics, but we'll talk about it, but absolutely, it seems like he done burned one campaign down for his whole new beginning. I don't know. That scene, we'll talk about in a second, but that scene really had me a little bit puzzled because, we'll talk about it in a second. But anyway, let's get into it a little bit. So the deep dive into the plot, because I think there's a lot to talk about this episode. So the first thing is the beginning of the episode. We get to see Tommy. Kind of really still feeling the effects after Lakeisha'S death. But to that point, we actually get to see Lakeisha'S baby father, Cash father,
just popped up Kadeem. In the first episode ever.
Yeah, Kadeem. People may have seen him in I forget what other show he was on. It'll come to me in a second. But so Tommy and Kadeem, they had a moment of respect that I would have never thought. I mean,
the way she played Kadeem and the way she talked about him, why the hell would you take Cash to him? That's the last person she wanted Cash with.
Right. To your point, all the talk about how bad of a person he seemed to be, he didn't come off hot-headed. He seemed chill. Hell, his apartment was better than her old apartment. So as far as I'm concerned, he living good. He was dressed real. I mean, she painted a picture like I didn't know who he was going to be.
Exactly.
And I heard about the casting, but still, I'm just like, yo, they're going to make him look like one of the dudes, like one of those dudes that was visiting Lakeisha. I mean, Tasha at the
Yes.
I can't even think of his name right now. Yeah, at the daycare. So I'm thinking he gonna be just some, but beyond them having a moment of respect for each other, I just was so thrown off. I was just like, yo, I legit thought he was about to be some bad guy, but I think he's a one-off. I don't think there's much to put into him. I also
Not
think
at all.
I also think, will we see Cash again? I think all of us as fans was like, please no. And Tommy gave us the I don't know.
he dumped him off as soon. Lakeisha body wasn't even cold and he dumped that boy off. Right? And when he hit you with the, will you see Cash again? I don't know. That's power speed for now. That little nigga gone now.
Yeah.
No longer part of this show.
So, just being optimistic here, are we going to see Cash again by any means?
No. Unless Cash is dying, we'll never see Cash again, Joe. That was they made sure of it too. You drop him with his father, you're like, nah, man, because you're never going to see his father again.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And I was going to say, but also just to be optimistic, realistically, do you think we see Cash's father again in any extent? Because he kind of gave him like if you need something, you know where I'm at thing. I don't see how he could ever, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, nah, there's no need. There's no need to ever show him again. Like they needed him to give you a plausible reason why Cash would no longer be on the show. Yeah. There you go. I'm over his daddy.
You guys been saying that Cash was going to provide more of a relief towards Lakeisha, and then it kind of moved towards Tommy a little bit. Overall, he served this duty for the character they wanted to do, which is something I'm going to complain about this episode, about characters having arcs and duties that are fulfilled and ones that are crashing and burning that I cannot believe. I'm just trying to get down the notes before I just jump all over the place. But to the point we originally started off with, Loretta Wash has said that she's going to announce James St. Patrick as her lieutenant governor on her campaign. So, to what I was saying earlier, there seems to be, we always knew that Ramona was super intelligent. We always knew she thought about the bigger picture. We knew there was mutual respect between the two of them as far as their IQ, their motivations, and their ambition to get the job done. But tell me if it's just me, but when Loretta Wash, I mean, all of us seen this coming. I mean, she sprinkled the little clues beforehand. But did Ghost play a poker face as his shock as to wow because of the position, or her just wanting him, period? Like, for me, it looked like he might have been a little bit surprised, but there's no way possible he could be surprised about something that they've both been driving towards.
I think the look was for her. Like to be surprised to her, like, oh, wow, I can't believe you want me to do this. This was Ghost's plan the entire time, is to play it this way. He knew after a while, they knew Tate wasn't going to make it. When you know Tate's not going to make it, you got to come up with your contingency plan. He knew Ramona had a contingency plan, so he just presented a better option to her. So I don't think he was surprised that they offered him the position as much as he needed to look surprised to them. Because if he stands there like he just knew this was going to happen, then that shows the plans and stuff. He was like, oh, really? People do that shit all the time, Joe. Like, you want, like, oh, me?
Yeah.
Me? Like that. That's how he played that joint off right there.
Yeah. For a minute I was like, all right. I mean, we all knew this was coming. And he just gave this stale face. And I was just like, this is not exactly how I was pictured this scene to go. But I see what you're saying. But also he gave a level of like visual intrigue, like, okay, now everything that we wanted to go right is going that way. But also too, I thought that scene had a lot of good dialogue about politics and so forth, about how people select their campaign mates.
Him
and
being
so
her little
forth.
black boy.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. But I don't know too much about politics, but it's kind of weird how he thought he might have been being selected for a certain position, and he obviously got a better position, which maybe he wasn't expecting that. But even when he laid down her cards or flipped her cards over and said, "This is what you really want me for him to kind of still agree. I wonder if there's still motivation between him and what's her name in this campaign extent now, or all three of them going to be on the same page. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think the ones that are on the same page is Ghost and Ramona.
Yeah,
that's it. No one else. And she's using him basically in politics for people that don't know, especially when you get the governor and lieutenant governor positions. Both of them are technically voted on separately. So you can have a governor that ends up with a lieutenant governor they do not like. But if you campaign as one single ticket, it makes it look better. And it makes it look better for her campaign to have someone from the inner city on her campaign, but it makes it look better for James because it gives him legitimacy to be partnered with her. So if you're Ramona, the goal would be for him to be partnered with her, because then that takes away all the questions about what is he, what can he do, how can he do it when he's this person that comes out the blue, if he's partnered with a career politician.
All right, I kept saying I wasn't going to do this, but I got to do it now because that's a lot. Like I said, I will completely be honest. I don't know too much about politics, but with that being said, that means everything that Tate said at the bar means zero. Then that means he has no cards left.
Well, his card that he could play is bringing up anything in James's past. Now,
but he's in public.
But he doesn't.
So how?
But he
how
really
is
doesn't know. He doesn't really know James' past. See, one good part that Power has really played with James for the most part is separating Ghost from James. And as long as those two are separate, there are always going to be rumors about him being Ghost. But if you go to those rumors and you Tate, it makes it look like you're just hating on him, which does nothing. That's not going to hurt him at all.
Right.
So it's weird that Tate would even show his hand that way. But it's Power, so he showed his hand, so he can eventually die. That's it's Power.
Like, either that or we see Tate the most vulnerable we've ever seen him. He doesn't have his strongest campaign asset. He doesn't have James, who he thought he was letting go for a particular reason that was going to benefit him. Obviously, it's not. So, and we've seen his campaign number. We haven't seen it, but we know his campaign numbers are now going to swirl down because of him being kind of mic'd up.
There's no campaign at this point. He's dead in the water.
So at some point now, we're going to see Tate without brains behind him kind of be unleashed for some sort. So I'm just trying to give some type of art to Tate's character, because like at this point now, as we'll finish talk about, some of the characters who have some of the most intriguing story arcs were hatchet down like no other. And I don't know. There is something to make of them, but I still have personal.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting till we get to your favorite cop who you thought was straight and who is now the quickest person in the world.
I'm glad I watched it twice, because I once said goddamn, and then I said never mind, we're good. All right, so let's talk about the kitchen scene between Mr. Ghost, who never needs keys, and Tasha, who's always surprised. Matter of fact, I can't even slander Ghost for that, because no one has keys in this episode. No
one has keys in this show. You've never seen it. Angela was the only one.
I was just about to say that.
Angela was the only one who had keys.
Everyone else just pops in, but whatever. But I think that was the most intense scene that we've seen in Power in a few seasons.
Probably the most intense for them two.
For sure. The one thing I think Power does good too is when, like I think you were kind of saying, when it comes to flashbacks, they really do know how to hit the most intense and most like emotional felt or pivotal scenes in the past to apply it to the present to make it make a lot of sense. And I think that's part of good writing, when you can actually do go back and say like, these parts made sense until this point. But we'll talk about it in a second. But when it comes down to their kids, they both got, and as we kind of seen develop on this season, they both got different tactics of raising them. Yes. One kind of preventing, one kind of embracing. But that kitchen scene, it's safe to say that the water finally boiled over the pot, and a lot of emotions came out of both of them. One being physical, one being verbal. Because Tasha has always had her silent but deadly way of achieving her strikes, but she really was hitting verbally. I mean, she really took James to a point to be physical, something that we've never seen him be with her in that matter. And it also completely drained her to an emotional standpoint that, you know, we haven't seen Tasha in tears like that except for Terry Silver, and beyond that was
which no one can explain the tears for Terry Silver. No one can. Nope.
So for you, what did that scene do overall for you, but overall for the story right now? Because like you can look at, I think people are going to look at that scene and say like, damn, Ghost abused her. But I think there's so much more, and I think there's a lot of
Ghost reacted like a parent who has another parent put their child in a situation that they know damn well they shouldn't be in. I think this is where he pulled the Mo and questioned like Tasha's intelligence on what she was doing, because it was highly important for the way it starts when he says, "You ain't got my son selling drugs," and she says, "No, he does not sell drugs." And for her attempting to tell Ghost like, "Hey, I'm trying to save our son by showing him this," and Ghost is like, "No, this is not what he's supposed to do." And then that interaction between each other about the hurt of losing a child and everything else that comes along with that, and Ghost being Ghost, I think she pushed him to the point of her forgetting, and I think this is the key, she forgot who she was dealing with. Like, it's different when you're dealing with this man when you're together and he's kind and he's sweet and all of that other stuff. But when you're not together, you get to see the Ghost that everyone else had to deal with. And that look on her face when he grabbed her and put her against the refrigerator told me like, oh, it clicked to her like, oh shit, this is the real you. This is what I got to be hidden from me all these years. And she didn't know how to react to it.
You know, there's two other things I want to say, then we'll move to the next part. Number one, that Ghost, what you just said, is the one she's attracted to. Now, let me explain why. Because Lakeisha said it. She said, "I know your type. I know you like those D boys." She likes dudes. I'm not talking in the form of aggression and anything that he portrayed there, but the Ghost that everyone's seen, the one that gets it done by the tactics and the way that he likes to do it, not the business owner, but the street guy is what she likes. You know, the one, he's in full mode to protect his son and his family here. And the reason why I say like that's the person that, you know, maybe she hasn't seen in all these years is because, and they even brought it up, like, don't you forget, like, after all these years, you know what I mean? Like, you know, now you see how it feels, sort of thing. Like, they were a lot of the conversation between the two of them was really talk about the duration of their relationship, like all the ups and downs that they've had. Like they were hitting on every point of where they've been through. But so when Q came to visit her inside of the daycare, the soft, humble, nice guy, she didn't like that. She was like, no. And pretty much, yeah, she kissed him, but she throws it to everybody. But she didn't feel safe there. She was just like, yeah, no, I got this. Because she know only she is the type of person who could take on somebody as such as a juggernaut as James is. So, you know, like I said, I think that scene, that scene, you know, as short as it was, probably like a minute and 30 seconds, really embraced a lot about their relationship, but overall their love for their kid. Like, they literally laid all on the table, to the point that even in my notes, I said, in that scene, 0 lies were told. There was not one lie in that scene. Ghost is known for lying, but there's not a lie out of his mouth. And even you just exploited the one lie that I know people are going to say about Tariq selling drugs. He's not selling drugs. Tasha has, as a business person, sort of like Jason, is like, I'm running the operation here, but my hands are clean. Where Tasha's like, I'm running the operation, my hands are dirty, but my son's is clean. So, you know, there was so much truth from one psychopathical liar and one person who says, like, you know what, I tell the truth, but not always everything. It just crashed and burned right in there. Very symbolic for the title. So, That's why I think a lot of people are not going to really pay attention to that scene as much as it is. They're going to look at the overall thing and saying,
I think
she abused him, and that's it.
I think they'll pay attention to the companion. I think they're going to pay attention to the companion piece to that scene, which is the scene with at the end with James and Tariq. Like, those scenes are parallel to each other because things are revealed in a scene with Tasha and Ghost, and things are kind of settled in a scene with James and Tariq, especially that conversation we had with Tariq when he said, "My father tried to get me away from the streets, and I didn't listen to him." So when Tasha's like, "I'm trying to bring out the person he actually is. He's not basically this fairy tale you want him to be," meaning he's your son. And don't mean he's going to be into drugs and things of that nature. It's just that means that he's going to rebel against anything you want or anything you think you can do to control his life, exactly like you did to your father.
Yep. So after that, pretty much, we get to see one of our favorite characters, Epiphany, which today I put on the closed caption so I can see how that was spelled. And ladies and gentlemen, it is spelled exactly how you think it is. All different shades of color of her hair, Epiphany. So EP, and you can finish the rest. Deal with that. But as much as I'm making fun of her, man, is she not smart or what? She literally told Tasha, the money good, they are living great. But she said, "I'm protecting my kid. You don't got all this together. You don't." And it's fine, because she could have been wrong or right. It didn't even matter. But she hit a nerve. And Tasha humbly was like, damn.
She knew she was right. There's no fighting it. There's no fighting it.
I'm telling you. But to that point, too, everyone's at this moment is losing something. So Tommy lost his crew. They got ran up on by the feds. And then Tasha lost her crew because of the feds, or sort of because of the feds, but because the whole strip club operation is now gone. So at this point now, everyone's losing something, but not just everyone, but just Tommy and Tasha are now finding a reason to kind of see eye to eye on things, because they both were like, this is Ghost's doing. I mean, one is literally Ghost's doing, but
the other one has nothing to do with Ghost.
As always, it gets slandered for everything. But at the same time, they're trying to make it right now. It's also very clear that everyone should know that, because Tommy is heartbroken. We haven't seen Tommy heartbroken since Holly. Last time Tommy was heartbroken, he went to go visit that old man and did some reckless stuff. Every time Tommy's heartbroken, my point is that he doesn't see clearly. It's just standard people who are. They're rational. So just to make it clear to everybody, some of the rationality behind Tommy right now is completely oblivious, which means him staying next to Tasha and not seeing Tasha being
obviously the person.
Where do I got this in my notes? I got this really big. Okay, soon. But yeah, we'll talk about that. But right now, this is gonna say Tommy is just not all the way there visually. This is so a lot of the stupidness that you may have think Tommy was really doing on I think it's true, considering that he was heartbroken. And it worked out one way good for him, because now the feds believe him. The feds is like, hey, he looks heartbroken. I don't think he did this. That's the first time they've never said that Tommy didn't do something. Tommy's always the like, well, if it ain't Ghost, it's clearly Tommy that did it. So there was a little bit of like there was a little bit of positivity for him on that. Okay, so with that even being said too, last couple of episodes problems has been Jason. Tommy and Ghost had a problem, said we got to get rid of this guy because he's an issue, and Tommy flipped on the whole operation. But beyond that, what I want to talk to you about is Jason and Drago in the car, and Jason's really thorough about his stuff. He does his homework. He knows what he's typically getting himself into always. He always Jason's one of those really smart, strategical guys. He just checks all the boxes. But Drago said, take the gun. He said no, and he asked him to take the gun again. I know there's something to be made here. Like, that, as small as that was, it it like touched me a certain way to the point that Drago, I would think if you're in Jason's operation, you're gonna really trust your guy. He's really never done his people wrong. They're reaching all-time highs as far as the type of money they're bringing in off all this stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Drago looked at him and told him to take a gun, as if he almost was like challenging his boss, who's really never stirred them wrong. Is there something to be made here, or am I maybe thinking too much about this?
It wasn't a challenge as much as him not trusting the situation. So when Jason says, well, I skipped it out, it's legit, and they go on and on about the conversation, and him still saying, take the gun. That means why you letting your guard down now? You've never let your guard down before. There's no reason for you to let it down now. And he was right. There was no reason for you to let your guard down.
Yeah. I guess I'll get into this like 1 second. I just had about Q right here. I'm just confused about this whole Q character. I really don't know what to say, but I'm just confused. Like, I don't even get this guy's position at.
Tasha falls in love in a week, and she gives it up to everybody. It makes no sense. Like, it makes literally no sense.
So Q's just a good parent that comes and visits the daycare all the time by himself without his kid.
Fuck no. We know it's more to this character. They just haven't revealed it yet.
I'm just wondering because I'm just annoyed by him right now. Confused.
It's clearly more to him. They just haven't told us what that more is yet.
All right, but yeah, back to Jason. So Ghost kills Jason. Tommy killing Beanie. Two characters who have very interesting arcs. Jason, I very much have been so intrigued with him because, you know, I think we've had really intelligent conversations about what Jason's trying to accomplish. We're never even going to see any of this manifest. I mean, we're seeing this guy running a drug operation with clean money to manifest to what is the thing? What bigger ports, bigger challenges, whatever it may be, all that's just gone for me right now. And then Beanie, obviously, really good showing this season. And then we got two strong characters with two strong operations behind them. Both get killed easily in one hand-to-hand combat without no backup, not being prepared. What the hell was this trash writing?
Jason's made more sense just because they played out why he went in the way he did. He checked out the operation. He clearly trusts James to an extent that made perfectly good sense for why he was left in that situation one-on-one. Benny leaves truth, thinking Tommy killed his cousin. And you telling me he comes to his house with a knife? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on, man. That makes no fuck. He has an entire army, and he comes with one pocket knife, not a gun. A knife? Come on. It was the dumbest. That was the dumbest thing humanly possible. Dumbest.
I'm definitely upset about that. Like, legit.
I'm not even going to bring up the point that he was stabbed, where he was stabbed at, and that technically with the size of knife that he was stabbed with, you could be stabbed in that same exact spot and not die. I'm not even going to bring that part up. Okay? I'm not going to bring that part up. The point he came with just a knife is the issue. It's Benny. Why the fuck would he come with just a knife?
You know what's funny about this, Dumb? They kill each other's biggest threats.
Did they?
Well, Beanie's definitely for Tommy. Well, actually, these are Tommy's biggest threats.
Both of them are Tommy's biggest threats.
Yeah, because Jason was fond
of James. And that's what I mean. That's why they explained perfectly well that Jason drops his guard around Ghost, because that's the one Jason always liked. You notice he never dropped his guard around Tommy.
Yeah.
But he dropped it multiple times around Ghost. With no issue.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he saw Ghost Tommy, as a guy who wanted out of the life, and Tommy is a guy who will always be in a life. You can't trust someone who's always going to be in that life. But you can trust someone who's trying to step out of it, because you're going to think they're not going to go to the extent of someone who's going to stay in it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, you're entirely right, and it pays out good for Jason. I mean, for Tom. Excuse me, for Ghost. This also gives. This also kind. I don't know. There's a lot to really. I think we're going for next week's episode. It's going to make sense where they're kind of restoring.
Some shit need to make sense after next week. We ain't get into the stuff that I'm really mad about. But
yeah, there has to be some restoring of trust between the two of them because he kind of did him a favor. But here's the point too. So but Tommy kind of okay. So right now we'll just get to that. So basically next, Dre is set up by Ghost to the Serbians. I don't know how he got off because he kind of like gave him a hunch ahead of time, but whatever. Well, at least the Serbians know that Dre did it now, or at least that's what they're going to think because of the text.
Because it came from Jason's phone.
Right.
That Jay double crossed me.
Yeah, it makes sense like how that's planned out. Like Dre's legit been set up, but Ghost was set up by Dre,
which makes no sense
for Sax, and by Tasha to Sax about Silver and the phone plant, which we'll kind of.
That's a little.
Yeah.
What does that prove? What would I would have to be stupid for one. Sax clearly grabbed that phone with his hands and put it in a plastic bag. One, why would Detective Rodriguez bring Sax around after you just got this man fired for doing what
I got that.
Two, right. Hold up. Let me break this down because this is why it doesn't make sense. Two, why would you let Sax in any way, shape, form, or fashion search any part of that car without you when you know what his motives would be for? Because he's going to taint your evidence. Three, Sax he did to that phone what Lakeisha has been doing to guns this entire season. 3, 4, how the fuck did Dre get into Ghost's hotel? Son, that makes no sense. 5, why would he put it where he put it at in the hotel behind something? Son, 6, what would the phone literally prove? That he talked to Terry Silver? We know that part already. Because at one point, Terry Silver represented James.
Yeah.
So the phone's going to prove absolutely nothing.
I was thinking that. I had that now. And I was like, yeah, what does the phone prove? That's literally
7. It. Hold up. 7. Damn it, I had 7 points out of this. If I'm a police officer and Tasha gives me as much detailed information about where Terry Silver is, and earlier on, we knew she was one of the last people with him because he was going to testify against her. Why would I believe anything she says about Ghost? She would have been my number 1 suspect in this murder. Now go ahead.
There's nothing else to say about that. I will put this down. Tasha, in 2 points in this episode. And I just want to be clear because I know people like to bash online. Tasha the character, not Nutari in real life. Tasha the character, fake crying and acting is absolute trash. That is so transparent that even Tariq looks through her and knows that she's lying.
However, right through her.
However, he learned that from her because he's the same way. When he lies, he just looks straight through them. So I thought that was kind of cool how it was like very reminiscent of each other, and they both give each other the same looks. Like I know you're lying, and I know you're lying, and Tommy's oblivious for the reasons which I said earlier. So it's cool. I get that. I totally get that. But like Tasha, man, could she not put it on this episode? And maybe it's because her killing her friend really has fickled her.
Really messed with her. I mean, because when push comes to shove, that still was her very, very close friend that she only did because she thought it would protect Tariq.
Yeah, I'm just wondering when everyone knows now, but I mean, Tommy knows because Rodriguez said it. But maybe if Tommy still don't believe her, Tasha still has the paper to show. At some point, Tasha and Tommy are going to realize, like, who was true.
I think it's going to come to the head because one thing's for sure. If we ever see before Tommy loses his shit, him and Ghost in the same area and they talking about this, he's going to realize Ghost had absolutely nothing to do with killing Lakeisha.
Well, I know.
And then for Tommy, it should only be logical who the other person who would do it.
Yep.
And that would be Tasha.
Yep. So before we get back to your 7 points again, so Tate. Now Ramona said, "I'm gone." Also, good choice of wordplay by saying whatever he said to her before about how she lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget. I should have wrote it down verbatim. I thought that was a really cool scene. Obviously, Rashad is going to have to be watching the news tomorrow for a lot of announcements because everyone just told him
he put 2 and 2 together. James tells him
no, he
Ramona
didn't.
tells him
No,
to
he
watch.
didn't.
He got to put 2 and 2 together.
Nope. Councilman Tate is literally the most oblivious person in this entire show. I have never. First of all, how can he trust Ramona when Ramona has more ways than enough expressed not only her interests, desires, love, affection, and everything for this guy that
loyalty
you just sit
to James. She is loyal to James.
And he goes back to the office like, all right, got rid of dead weight, we're ready to go. And she's like, And he was surprised. I have never seen somebody be so. But now, we know he was a street boy, and he was a street boy that finally got a little bit of power by running for councilman or running for governor. And so now,
was he a street boy though?
Yeah, remember he got checked up on the street that one time by what's her face?
Was he a street boy or someone who knew street people?
Either way,
I never saw. Yeah,
either
I saw him way was that.
He's going back to that. Is my whole point. He's going wherever he came from. He's going back to that. He's desperate. He has all his cards have been played. We might see another dynamic of Tate we haven't seen yet. Give us something because we done crashed and burned 2 really good, strong characters to a person Tate who's really hasn't been much for me. I mean, he served a good arc, but like maybe there's a phase 2 to him. But if not, I wouldn't be surprised they just fizzled him out. Like, hey, he's not going to win. Peace out. At this point, like, forget it.
He's used there to make Ghost either stronger or weaker in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah. So, Detective Rodriguez goes and finds Sax in Element. I mean, he's listening to good music. He's not really such a trashy person. It would have been so funny if they would have found Sax in the same strip club that was a face. Yeah. No, just the strip club that homegirl work at.
Oh.
That would have been so wild. They would have did that. But my question is, do you think Detective Rodriguez really, truly believes Sax, or is she just using him again for his methods?
She's using him again for his...
She says, I quite understand why you did the things you did. And he was
like, really? Him again for his methods, but if she uses him for his methods, that's why she's not the cop that you always say she was.
Wrong. Nope. Nope. She is just using him. That don't mean she's guilty of it.
No. Yes, it does. Actually, 100% does. Because if a cop, any evidence she gathers from willfully lying about it or using Sax in any way, shape, form, or fashion is not admissible. That's why she's acting the way she's acting with Terry Silver. She knows, like, a lot of this stuff won't be admissible, that we're going to have to get him to admit to some of this shit. Because, again, what do you do if Tasha says, oh, both of them 2 came to my apartment together to talk about this? Her credibility is done.
That's true, but
moment they bring that up.
But at the same time, too, yeah, she's.
And then look at what Sax goes and does. Look what he went and did.
He's true to who he is, but I think that she's using Sax to continuously to push out to get more evidence and more leads. So I don't think she's doing anything unethical because it's not planting brute force or anything.
For a cop though, anything that she did from ill-gotten gains is still illegal. She can't do it. And even though Sax is the person that's doing it, put like this: I couldn't rob you, give the information to someone else, and then get turned. It wouldn't work that way. The moment it happens that way, that's through ill-gotten gains that you got that information.
I don't know.
She can't use it.
It's the same thing as Dre. She's pushing the right buttons to get more information. How
the hell is this nigga not smart? Okay. That's another.
I don't get Dre.
How is he still this stupid?
Yeah,
this
Dre
nigga get
I don't get him.
His whole crew together. He ain't got a call from nobody. He ain't got confirmation of nothing.
Selling dreams.
He get the whole crew together, and then he knows that Sax isn't part of the DA anymore. What makes you think him? What? How can he help you? How? There's no way he can help you here.
I never seen such a street boy go such flips so quickly in a few episodes.
Jesus Christ, man! Like he's not. Oh my goodness, this makes no
sense. You would think after he killed the cop, that he may really stir away from being around him, but I don't know.
So all this shit happens with Jason, and the first person you run to is Sax.
And by the way, too, him and his boys was having a good time cheering up some beers. They had the whole bar, and they would have some beers that they were cheering up to as a means of celebrating new income. I mean, he could have did better than that. So they should have already knew. Like, they weren't drinking no champagne or anything. They just was like, they had their good old Miller Lights poured up, and they thought new money was coming in. They're going to be blown because obviously he just lost his whole operation too, selling dreams like that. This apparently ain't going to be no drug selling in Power in a few more episodes.
No, I'm not. Drago, in Jason's operation, Jason would have to have a second. His second would take over. His second is just going to keep on selling to Tommy. Tommy is still alive.
That's true. But the important thing for me is that Rodriguez and Sax, it literally took the two of them together to make Tasha flip. Something she's never done. She's never turned her back on Ghost. She finally did it.
But she only flipped because he did what he did about the daycare.
Well, it took the two of them knowing the certain buttons to hit together. Like they were just one after another, and Tasha was just like, forget it. And just gave it up.
But I really think if they would have hit those buttons and he didn't snitch on her about her daycare, she wouldn't have broke.
Obviously, her money has been her biggest motivation this entire time. I mean,
I think it's the trust factor. She no longer trusts Ghost because he did something that it's weird that he did. He did something so out of character of calling the feds on her. That's completely out of character for him.
Also, very out of character for her because she is exactly the person that she just killed, Lakeisha. She just flipped. Yeah, she just pretty much flipped and snitched to the feds.
But she told Ghost she would do that. You know saying? Because
like I said, there was no lies there. There was absolutely no lies in the kitchen earlier. But
how would she know where Terry Silver's body is?
I was wondering that, and I thought I missed something, so I wasn't even gonna bring it up. I literally was thinking like I am.
And as good as Ghost is at getting rid of people, hey, you know what? Here's another thing, people. For people that don't know, okay. After a while of
body
being anywhere, that trunk would have not been able to contain the smell of that body. That whole parking garage would have smelled horrible. Trunks let air in and let air out. They're literally built that way so people wouldn't suffocate if they got trapped in one. Come on now. Come on, man.
Also, Sax having a weak stomach for a person who's just, I don't know, he was just mangled. Like he hasn't seen plenty of other people's heads. I was like, Sax is beyond something every single time. Like that is just one person you cannot trust no matter what. And even then, he found a way to get a little bit of separation from her to do his own little thing. Like it's ridiculous. Also, too, for anybody that thought that Terry Silver might have still been alive, he's clearly dead now. So I'm glad all those rumors have quietly been put down.
But that would be weird because we saw when James killed him.
I don't know why some people were still thinking that he was alive. I have no clue why.
No, James is going to leave him alive? That was the whole point. Terry Silver was going to snitch.
Yeah.
That's another thing we haven't talked about yet, and they haven't brought up yet. Terry Silver was about to snitch on Tasha.
Yeah.
Why the hell is this not out yet? Like, as the love of her life was about to snitch on you.
I don't know. I don't know. That's why.
So hold up. Are we gonna get to the point where that's revealed to Tasha that because now that they found Silver's body, everything's gonna come out that he was about to testify against you.
Yeah.
Then does it come out that hey, well, Tommy, like Lakeisha signed these papers. Lakeisha was about to leave you to possibly snitch on you. Then what do? Do they now look back at Ghosts and wonder like, oh, okay, so you weren't wrong with both of these two people?
I don't know. To wrap up this episode, because I'm down to the bottom of everything that happened. Pretty much like you said, Dre going to Sax, who's also, like you said, unemployed, makes zero sense. And this episode being an episode of no one having keys, no one needing keys, but everyone knows where everyone's at, mysteriously.
How does he know what Sax lives? I need somebody to explain that. We've never had that shown.
Yeah, he just walked up in there, and I guess everybody got a GPS on them. Even Rodriguez finding him in the club was just so off to me too. I was just like, it's a lot of just. And even the point that, like, she knows where he's at, but she didn't follow Dre's tracking device to find out where Tommy's operations at. All this entire time they never knew, and now it finally occurred to them to, like, say, like, oh, here's a possibility. There was a lot of weirdness on that. But like I said, this episode I think was like one of the worst edited episodes as far as like time lapse and stuff, because people were just like Sass was in the airport. And next thing you know, he's right in his apartment, right the next second later. So, I don't know. But, yeah, anything else to talk about this episode?
I don't think so. I think we done ran through everything humanly possible in this episode. None
Yeah, I don't know. They got a lot to do to make up for this season mid-season finale for that. But also, just check out the next video, because we're gonna put a little bit more time and effort to talk about what we can expect for that next episode. So thanks for listening to this one. We'll catch you next week for the full deep dive of episode 10.
Yeah. Yep.
No one can stop me.